good to go. Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here. And today we are continuing Rayman Origins. Depending on how things go in this session, this should be the second to last session of this game we are doing, as we have managed to rescue the 4 kings, and that will open up the path to the last world of the game, Moody Clouds. It's certainly been a long time coming, and this has definitely been an exciting game to get the opportunity to stream here on the channel. And it's crazy to think that we're already so close to the end here, but I think we shouldn't waste any more time and just dive into the final world, Moody Clouds. Starting off with a flight level, we've got Riding the Storm. Let's hop right into here. So as this is the final world, felt it appropriate to end things off by playing as our main protagonist, Rayman. Magic of the ancestors, we summon thee. Open says we. Hocus, Palacus, focus, focus. So by helping out all of the nymphs and managing to rescue the kings, we've opened up the path forward at last. No, 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 no! Don't go in there! Wrong way! Go back! Other way! Danger, danger! If you go there, the clouds will burst in fury and strike you down! I mean it! Prepare to be bubbleized! So it seems like the magician is very concerned about our well-being here. Is very concerned about us going any farther. And of course we're not going to heed his warnings because we got ourselves a world to beat. So we are riding through the storm here. Just want to avoid getting struck by the lightning fired by the clouds as much as you can. And looks like we got some enemy airships that are going to be attacking us here. Of course, it seems like the forces of the land of the Livid Dead do not want us to succeed. So just do our best to beat away these baddies. Ow. We gotta be careful of some of the attacks here. Do our best to try and get as many Lums as we can on the way through these areas. As we are going to need as many Electoons as we can get in order to be able to get some really good stuff down the line. Ow. Okay, we took a big hit there, and I think we're starting off right from the beginning. But yeah, at this point, I highly recommend trying to get as many Electoons as possible in order to unlock some of the levels that are coming up ahead. So we definitely have a lot we gotta deal with here. Definitely make good use of the suction here to deal with some of the threats. It's gonna be real good. Definitely good to suck up the bombs. I feel like those would make a good projectile to hit enemies with and take them out. You can just deal with a lot of these guys very quickly if you just suck up the bombs. And of course, we got a shooter section here. Definitely very familiar for if anyone has played a lot of shooters like Toho and the like. Just want to be very careful while going through here. You can see beyond these storm clouds here, we got a lot of machinery coming up. There's a lot more to this area than we had previously would expect, just in the middle of the storm. And it's definitely a very cool set piece. I really love the feel of this final area. Definitely feels like you're descending into some really fearsome territory here. So I like these little fly guys are all mechanical too. It's a nice little touch. And of course the Rayman series is no stranger to robotic adversaries, since we had the Robo-Pirates in Rayman 2. And even the Hoodlums in Rayman 3 also use quite a bit of technology in their forces. Just want to do your best to strike as much as you can over here. It's got those cogs that you can use in order to manipulate some of these things. And then we got to shoot the cores of those devices so that they power down, enabling you to go through. Definitely a lot of interesting stuff here for us to deal with. All these different threats. So we can ricochet our shots to deal with that guy. Then just smash those apart to deal with some of the machinery. Not doing too great at handling most of these, but yeah, this is pretty tricky. It's got these missiles that will home in on us. Definitely remind me a lot of the bullet bill variants you would encounter in the Mario games, as you would typically see like red bullet bills that would just try to seek you out, as opposed to the regular variants. So looking at our totals here, I don't believe we have enough to get the last Electoon in this level. Yeah. But at the very least, we made it through the first area. There was definitely a lot of hazards we had to deal with here, so I'm not too surprised we missed out on a lot of opportunities to gather Lums. But we did fine. And after riding the storm, we open up the path forward. On top of Old Smoky. So yeah, on top of just the thunderstorm that we got dealing with here, we also got a very mechanical area with a lot of different devices that we gotta worry about. It's got all these flies we can dispatch, thanks to that glove power we picked up, just enabling us to strike those guys very quickly. So definitely want to strike as many of these guys down as you can to gather the Lums we need. And just time your jumps carefully past the thunderhead. Ah, jeez. Not too sure if we'll be able to get those guys up there. So might be able to. Ow. Alright, we got comboed there, but we should be... Ow. Never mind. Alright, this is gonna be a bit easier for us, at least. We're dealing with some of the things here. We just reset the stage. Hey. Ah, never mind. Wow, really? Great job getting comboed there, Ray. Ow. This is the final world, so I am anticipating this to be a bit trickier for us to deal with. Depending on how you time your punches, you can easily combo these guys, which is very good. Wow, really? Come on. Definitely gotta be careful when you're dashing, because sometimes you'll just blow yourself clean off. But yeah, timing your punches is definitely very good for dispatching of these guys when they fly by. Just bash these guys when they come over, and we're good. So yeah, definitely a very cool setting for the final area of the game. I definitely approve of this setting, just really intimidating. And of good way to close off this adventure with just a very threatening-looking area. Alright, there we go. Let's press on. So here we got a section very similar to what we saw back in the desert, where we got a very windy area that we can fly through. And also giving me a lot of... It's making me think a lot of that one area from Rayman 2 that I keep talking about. That gives you the ability to fly, but only for one level. Please get this coin. There we go. So definitely gotta be really careful while going around the clouds here so you don't get struck by lightning. Is there... Whoa. Is there anything down here? Nope, that's it. Okay, let's get out of here. Definitely expect there to be a few things you gotta watch out for. Oh, these guys are interesting. We have these little robots that you're not able to defeat yourself. Instead, you have to try and knock them into machinery in order to damage them. It's quite the interesting foe we got here. Deal with that guy in a bit. Knock that guy away to grab those little lummies. Oh, come on. Fine, we'll take the L. Probably gonna have a lot of tries here before we can truly get everything we need. Really? Very interesting seeing little robots with these kind of designs. They're a lot more cutesy than the robot pirates. Then again, anything will look cutesy compared to the robo-pirates. They're definitely one of the more intimidating enemies that Rayman has ever faced in these games. Oh, come on! Just comboed me there. I mean, what do you expect when your character only has, like, one hit point? But even still, that was obnoxious. Ugh, we didn't get all those guys. That's pretty poor. Let's just see if we can get farther. I'm not too concerned about our lum totals, because depending on how things go, we could always go back to these areas later. Or I could try to do try doing some other things like time trials in between sessions to see if we can build up our numbers to what we need. Alright, so this part definitely very tricky with having to evade the lightning beams to get that. Wow. Yeah, that was some poor timing. Okay, let's try this again. Take that hit, but we should be fine. Oh, come on! Yeah, I'm just gonna die there so that we can get what we need. And we're already having a pretty poor show of things here. I mean, it's been a long time since I've had to do this world, so I am very much out of practice. That part is so annoying with how quickly the electricity will just zap you dead. Oh, come on. We'll eventually get this. It's just gonna take a little while for me to get the rhythm. But yeah, how has everyone been since the last session? It's like, So, well, things haven't been too bad for me. Like, I had to work Sunday, but besides that, I've been doing pretty well. And I've got myself a very busy week coming up, so I'm not really going to have... There we go. Not really going to have time for doing our next session until a bit later. Come on. So I'm probably not going to expect our next stream session to be until Sunday because of just how busy my work schedule is. But that should be fine. We'll eventually have all the time we need in order to finish up the last bit of this game I want to cover for the channel. There we go. Man, that room was tricky. For a number of reasons. Here we got some mechanical fish to deal with. So they're basically just reskins of the fish that we encountered before. It's really not too much trouble here. We're able to grab the punching power all throughout this section, which is really good for dispatching with these guys. Ow, come on. Saw some Lums go up there. And I have a feeling we are done with that. Ooh. Alright, it's gonna be interesting. We got a bunch of robots that we got to knock around. And you can only strike them into certain hazards around here. So that is a little tricky to have to do this, but we should be good. Ow. We'll eventually get through this. So how has everyone been today? Just been enjoying my day off, and earlier today I went and grabbed some Eggs of Benedict for lunch at the usual place I go to whenever I feel like grabbing breakfast food, and it was so yummy. Because the one I always get for my Benedict is a one with pea meal bacon in it. Oh man, it tasted so good. Always love grabbing it. It's definitely one of my favorite things to grab, especially considering that I have a lot of work coming up, so I wanted to treat myself to something I'll obviously really enjoy. That was a bad idea. Alright, we got a bunch of these guys we can deal with while we're in this area. Alright, newsflash, do not dive. That is obviously going to be bad for us here. Such a shame, because the dive is usually such a good attack for dispatching with enemies. But we can't use it here because there's a bottomless pit. Ugh. So it's a little irritating, but we should be good. As long as we can get at least 300 Lums by the end of this stage, we should be good. Alright, that part wasn't bottomless at least. Can never be too safe around here. This part is very tricky because we got these saw blades, and then we have the skull coin to grab. Well, we were able to do that. Very nice. Gets us a good amount of Lums there. And we might actually be done at this point here. So yeah, there was the room we were just at before, so I think we've dealt with everything we can over here. I mean, we definitely did a good run of dispatching with the foes that we needed to deal with, so we're all good. And moving right along to the next section here. So here I definitely want to be careful, because we got electricity and the saws to deal with. Somehow we survived. Okay. Ooh, boy. Run up here and deal with those robos. I think we'll probably want to jump over the saw blade once it comes around. Yep. So that's how we deal with that. Very good. So yeah, thinking about some other things I might want to talk about. Just with how things have been pretty recently, and some of the things I watch. Because one of the reactors that I typically like to see was reacting to a bunch of clips from, like, various, you know, content creators that were posted pretty recently, and that was pretty fun to get to watch. Thinking we need to jump right there, and that enables us to grab that. Very nice. And we'd slide down here to get to this secret area. Oh, we got ourselves some black flies to get past. Just gotta be very careful, Flappy Bird our way past those little black urchin things, and we are good. Woo. Yeah, it was pretty funny, the clips that this person was reacting to, because I did see a good chunk of them beforehand, and it was definitely pretty fun getting to see a lot of different reactions to these people that have seen before. It's pretty interesting just thinking about the whole climate of how many different reactors and different content creators we have at this point. It's pretty interesting. Ow. I definitely think we can grab this here. Ow. I have an idea on what we can do to get this, but it requires, like, very precise timing if we're gonna get this. I mean, we don't need the coin at this point. We have plenty of... Whoop! There we go! Oh, I overshot it! Are you kidding me? Here. We don't even need this coin because we have more than enough Lums to get what I want. Just want to see if I can do this. Ow. Alright, that I definitely overshot. Alright, we have more than enough Lums. Let's just get out of here. We got this. To maneuver this wheel through the thunderclouds. Be very careful. There we go. Really? Rayman, why are you like this? Don't need to worry about that coin. Let's just move on. But yeah, it's definitely a pretty interesting environment that we have online with so many different content creators. And it's definitely been fun doing my own thing here on YouTube, as well as when I was doing things on Twitch. But those days are most likely gonna be past us, because I really see no reason to go back to Twitch after that policy change they did. We can only have a certain number of highlights on your channel. That just really rubbed me the wrong way, so I'm not gonna be doing content there anymore. Got this wheel we need to turn. Dispatch of those guys, and open up the path to the last Electoons we need here. Alright, that was definitely a very tricky level. A lot of hazards we had to get past, but we managed to beat those guys. Yeah, at the very least we got all the Electoons in this stage, unlike the previous level we tried. I mean, this is what we should expect from the final world. Things are going to get really tricky here. And this is going to serve as like the final test of everything that we have been doing over the course of this adventure. That opens up the path to Mecha No Mistake. Alright, let's see what we got over here. From the name, it seems like we're definitely going to face a lot of robots. Oh, the vibes here are so good. So got a factory to explore here now. So if there's a factory here, that means that someone is in charge of crafting everything here. But who could be responsible for all this, I wonder? We'll definitely figure out the answer to that in due time. Now let's just make our way through these machines. I have a feeling we might have missed something over there, but yeah, we'll figure that out in time. This part's gonna be really tricky with the pistons here. Carefully... Yeah, you've gotta really carefully wall jump between the pistons as they move. So as a NECA not get blasted by the... Oh, come on. Yeah, I missed out on getting that. To be expected here. Definitely some very tricky jumps here at this part. Guess we can expect to have some... Really? Well, we're missing out on that coin, but at least we can go over here to grab the Electoons we need. So this part seems we got a... We can knock that down. So we got this big gear to crush the robots. And then we can go over and deal with this. It's kind of funny, don't really needed that part with the ice blocking a path. So we were just able to quickly grab these guys. But yeah, I just love the factory setting we have here. It's very imposing and definitely opens up a lot of questions about this whole area. Since this area is a factory, someone has got to be operating it. Just gotta figure out who it is. Perhaps it's one of the nightmares that managed to escape from the land of the Livid Dead. Or it could be someone else entirely. We'll have to just wait and see. Definitely a lot of tricky hazards we gotta get past here. Okay, definitely see one of the things we gotta get here. If we just dash up, we can run along the wall to grab that coin. And then there should be something else. Yep, we should head down here, and we should be able to grab some Electoons. Just knock the robots down, and it should be good. Now, this part's honestly not too bad. Yeah, that was pretty simple, all things considered. But at the very least, we managed to save these guys and open up the path forward. Ow. Okay, I got a good number of Lums from that. Oh, there's another one. You jump there, and then we can grab these guys. Oh, there's a lot of these here. Whoa, careful. Alright, looks like we got all the Lums that are attached to that cog. So let us move on. So in terms of other things I wanted to mention, so it's been pretty interesting for me and my channel at the moment, because I have been uploading the VODs from my Stardew Valley playthrough on Twitch from so many years ago recently. And it's been a pretty good time uploading those videos and getting to vicariously relive that playthrough. Because I do intend to eventually play that game over here on this channel. That's gonna be a little while before we do that. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Knock these guys into the lava. Dispatch with them. And we'll just wait for these cogs to turn around to where we need to go. Yeah, it's been pretty fun uploading the VODs from my Stardew playthrough, and we're definitely getting to some pretty interesting parts, because I definitely know we're going to be getting to a part very soon that probably going to have to put a warning in the description for that particular video, because that session is going to contain some pretty serious discussions that will probably require a little bit of a warning as they pertain to discussions of, like, drug abuse and depression and thoughts of a very unfortunate nature. Yeah, we'll definitely get around to doing that at some point. I mean, I am very much looking forward to posting more of those sessions, especially with some of the stuff I talk about. Just a very fun time, and I always love going through that particular game. It's easily one of my favorite comfort games to go through, since it's always just such a good time playing it. What exactly happened there? I have no idea what just happened between me and the robots there. I doubt even Captain Razorbeard would know. That old robot fogey. Ow! Come on! Oh, boy. This part really shouldn't be that tricky. Somehow, these robots are just being very mean. It's definitely because the robots are able to... Really? There we go. Finally took that a-hole out. Oh, man. That should not have been as difficult as it was. Anyway, we got ourselves a couple more Lums we gotta grab over here before we can move on. I just want to head into the center of that gear to grab these guys. And then we got some more gears to deal with. Also pretty interesting that the gears do push the Lums around. So if you're not careful, they'll just get pushed away from you. And that's concerning. I have a feeling that there is going to be something up top here, so might want to check up on this. Really? Nothing? Okay. Then we got some more Lums in the middle there. This section here are just all of the gears turning around. Ow! I did not notice that robot there! Come on! Game. Why you like this to me? Yeah, just this whole section with the rotating gears, it reminds me a lot of the climax of the movie The Great Mouse Detective, which was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I just love it so much. Definitely one of the better films to come out of the 80s for Disney. And obviously that era also had the... Ow! Come the frick on! It's always this first gear that gives me so much trouble. For no reason. Just come on. But yeah, that's just a very interesting period for Disney in the 80s. Because it had a lot of good films like The Fox and the Hound and The Little Mermaid. And there's a few that I personally quite enjoy a lot, like... I really liked Oliver and Company, and... Another movie that I really liked from that time was The Rescuers Down Under. That one is so good, too. But yeah, just very interesting with all the gears. Definitely brings to mind that scene when Basil's facing Ratigan inside the clock tower. Just such a cool place for the final battle, being inside that tower and just all the rotating gears. Made for a very tricky part for him to get through. And for dealing with Ratigan. It's really like thinking back to a lot of the movies I used to watch when I was a kid. There's a lot of good memories behind those viewings. And of course, a lot of my thoughts regarding Disney nowadays don't tend to be too positive, mostly because I don't approve of the business practices that the company has been doing as of late. Especially with their shift towards AI the last couple of months has just been very unsatisfying. As someone who's been a longtime fan of Disney and whose art style has very much been influenced by the works of the people who used to work at that company. It's just so annoying to see such awful business practices being done. All for the sake of just making cheap content to be consumed instead of appreciating the art of animation. Just, I don't want to be too hung up about this and just have a lot of negative discussions with regards to this topic. Just, it just rubs me the wrong way as someone who's loved and who's considers themselves an artist for so many years of my life. At the very least, it looks like we are almost done here. Ooh, if I remember, this section is pretty cool. So we got this big cube area, and the area is going to rotate as we're going through here. So this whole section definitely reminds me of some of the puzzles that you would see in Rayman Legends, where you would have sections where you would get control of the fairy Murphy, and you would use him in order to move around certain structures so that your characters would be able to get where you needed to go. It definitely reminds me of that, and I'll obviously have a lot to say about Rayman Legends when we eventually get around to streaming that, because that game is amazing. And I also remember just the wait in order to get that game. It was such an interesting time for me because it was so exciting to get it. And then it got delayed because Ubisoft wanted to release versions of the game on more consoles than the Wii U. And it was just so irritating having to wait longer just to get this game I really wanted. But we're gonna hold off on that for the moment because look what we got now. Tricky Temple 2. At long last, we got ourselves the final race level. And it's a callback to one of the first races we did in our adventure. Just now we have a lot more hazards that are going to be coming at us from all sides. Oh, come on. So yeah, this section is pretty much the first race we did, only with a lot more coming at us. You've got to be very careful and very precise while going through this part if you want to survive and get to the end. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a tricky one. Ow, come on. We'll probably be here for a little while, but I'm not anticipating it to give us too much trouble. Me not to reference a certain show, but I have played these games before. Come on. Ow! Yeah, this will definitely be a tricky one, and I expect my commentary is going to get very light at this part, just because I want to concentrate on what we are doing here. Okay, I do not want to do that. Oh, come on! Something tells me we were very close to the end there. Just gotta try this again. We have plenty of time to go at this, so just strap ourselves in. I don't know how much easier or harder this would be if we were playing as Glowbox or the Teensies. I just want to focus on Rayman for these last sessions because, you know, he's the protagonist of the series. Oh, there we go! That actually wasn't too bad. Yeah, since it was a remix of the very first race stage we ever did in this game, obviously it did not take us too long to get through it. They just added more hazards. Amazing! You found all the teeth! Enter the land of the Livid Dead via the Snoring Tree, if you dare. So by collecting all of the teeth from the various racing stages, we have now finally unlocked access to the final challenge of the game. Get the Livid Dead Stars Tour! Bring new skull teeth! So yep, now the path is open. You can head into that portal in order to challenge the true final level of the game. However, that is going to be something we're not going to be doing for a little while. And as you can see here, we still do not have enough Electoons to unlock another skin here. But we don't have to worry about that. So now that we've taken care of that, I think it's time for the reveal. It is time, everyone, for the end game of Rayman Origins' story. Time to figure out just who is responsible for things here inside the Moody clouds. What? The magician? What are you doing here, dude? What? Oh, you asshole! So it turns out the magician was the true mastermind behind everything. And we got ourselves a robotic duplicate of Carnivora we gotta deal with here now. So yeah, the story behind this game. The magician was obviously behind everything. And all the nightmares being released from the land of the Livid Dead was all him. And he also tricked us into gathering all of the Lums over the course of this adventure. For a particular reason that we will be seeing. But yeah, right now we just gotta deal with Robo Carnivora here. Shouldn't be too bad. Whew, got through that. Alright, so I know that you're going to jump. Just gotta be very careful with this part, since you're obviously going to move a certain way here. Okay, you're going to do that ram attack. Got it. So yeah, this whole stage is pretty interesting. So the magician, obviously he was a character from the original Rayman. However, his role in this game is very similar to that of the original villain from the first Rayman, which was Mr. Dark. And in fact, Mr. Dark was originally planned to be the villain of Rayman Origins. It's just that he was eventually cut from the game at the last minute. There was promotional art that would feature him, but for whatever reason, he was just eradicated, and we no longer have access to getting to see him playing his ultimate role as the big bad here. And I believe the story goes with this game is that the magician has been recontextualized as a fanboy of Mr. Dark, which is an interesting choice. And so now this guy is basically following in Mr. Dark's footsteps and trying to cause so much discord with the world. And of course, he has been tricking Rayman and his friends into gathering Lums for him. Because, as I explained before, in the lore of the series, the yellow Lums make up the heart of the world. And it takes at least 1,000 Lums in order to create the heart of the world. And we have been gathering thousands of Lums for this guy. So yeah, he is obviously going to be using the Lums that we've been gathering him in order to power his machines. So that's something we gotta worry about after we dispatch with these fiends. Because obviously we got ourselves a repeat of the Mockingbird to deal with here. It really goes to show how crafty this guy is for managing to create these duplicates of the bosses that we have managed to do. And also construct this giant fortress. He is quite the foe. And just gotta be very careful. Should be able to strike this guy down. So now we dealt with the Mockingbird. Just want to ride this platform over. Alright, we managed to dispatch with the magician's pets. So now let's go face this guy. What? You're back? Oh, he's bald! So obviously that's the reveal. What's going on? Okay, I guess we're just dancing now. I mean, we dealt with all your bosses, so guess there's nothing more to do. And he runs off. Slide 2, you can see a bunch of little drawings in the background, obviously in reference to Mr. Dark. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Mr. Dark actually play a role in this game. His redesign is a little interesting because they redesigned him so that he was actually a teensy, which I could definitely see would rub people the wrong way. And I believe that there was a mobile game released where they gave a new design for Mr. Dark that's a lot closer to his original design, so that's obviously a very nice little thing that they did. But now we gotta chase after the magician. We cannot let him escape, especially after everything he put us through and what he could potentially do. Because after all, this guy managed to acquire so many Lums. He could easily have the power to create the heart of the world multiple times over. Okay, we obviously screwed that one up. But now we dealt with all of his machines, his bases falling apart. So we just gotta chase after the mad guy. This could take a little bit. Spark could definitely be... Oh, come on. I'm supposed to grab onto one of the ropes there. Spark could definitely be tricky, but nothing we haven't already seen already. Just got a lot of hazards we gotta deal with while we're escaping his crumbling fortress. But yeah, like I said before, this guy's responsible for everything that went wrong in our journey. So remember back at the start of our adventure when Rayman and his friends snoring pissed off the monsters in the land of the Livid Dead? Yeah, the magician was the one who placed the microphone there that awoke all of the bad monsters and annoyed them to no end. So yep, it's his fault for everything that we've had to deal with. We will eventually deal with this guy. So now made our way out of the fortress and into the mountains. Looks like he's got an airship to make his getaway now. Yeah, what a jerk. So now, you gotta fly on the mosquito to chase after him. It's definitely a pretty involved finale. Getting to go through so many past level concepts and obviously ending things off with a shooter section. It's definitely going to test out everything we have been doing over the course of this adventure here. I definitely like how varied this final chapter was. Like, we obviously had to deal with some of the bosses that we faced before. Then we had a platforming section to do, and now we got a shooter section. Definitely pretty cool they vary up so many of the things you do in the final act. But yeah, but this part we do obviously have Lums that we need to collect in this part. There weren't any Lums to collect during the last of the previous two sections. But here you definitely want to be careful and make sure you collect as many Lums as you can for what's ahead. Ow. Just gotta smash this guy to get at these. Ooh. I gotta ricochet our shots to raise that one. Whew. It's definitely pretty stressful with how many hazards they throw at you here. Should be good. Alright, we're starting to head. I definitely like this section here where we obviously have some of the machines from his factory, but they've been iced over because we're so high up in the sky and in the mountains. Definitely a very interesting set piece here. But we are still not done here. So now we managed to catch up to the magician's airship. Just gotta strike this thing down. Definitely reminds of a lot of the different shooter sections in the Kirby games, like when you're fighting Cabula or infiltrating Galactic Nova. Definitely pretty cool. What else can we shoot? I mean, we can hit the balloon, but it seems like our shots are just ricocheting off of it. So yeah, this final part's definitely going to be pretty tense, because we got a lot of different hazards we got to deal with here while we're dealing with this fiend. It definitely raises an interesting question with regards to the magician. Because if the nightmares are all born from Palakis' nightmares, does that mean that the magician originated from a nightmare? Or did he simply turn evil of his own volition? Definitely an interesting thought there. I mean, we know that he's a fanboy of Mr. Dark, so obviously he seems smitten by the dark side for whatever reason. Alright, we can hit the propeller on that guy to deal with him. It's another thing we can try to do here. I believe for this section you just want to try and smash as many pieces of the airship as you can in order to try and get Lums. So you can destroy enough pieces that will cause Lums to drop, which would be very beneficial to us. Ow. We can grab some hearts in here. There we go. Ow. Come on. Oh, we got a hunter up there. We can dispatch with that guy in order to take out the missiles. And we're at the end. So it seems like this is the core of his factory. He was accumulating Lums, all so that he would be able to create an endless power supply for himself. But in the end, we took him out. Whee! Wow! Oh, hey, Palakis. And we just go back to what we were doing before. Yeah, definitely an interesting story here with this game. 269 Lums collected in that level. Not enough to get the last Electoon we needed for the stage, but, you know, we tried our best. We definitely missed quite a few enemies, so that's why we didn't get enough we needed. But we still tried our best in the end. And now prepare ourselves for the longest frickin' credits sequence in all of gaming. But yep, that was the main story of Rayman Origins. Just a game that I really enjoyed playing when I was younger, and going back to it, it still holds up really well. Just the art style is just so distinct and so wonderful to look at. The gameplay is very fun, and I just love the core level design, and gaining abilities as you're going through the adventure is obviously very good. Yeah, obviously the story is kind of an afterthought with this game, but it really didn't need a big story. Even though this game was titled Rayman Origins, and a lot of its marketing went behind just showing this as like a reboot of the Rayman series. Because from this point in time, before this game was released, the Rayman series was in a very awkward position, because for a good chunk of time, he was basically sidelined in favor of the Rabbids. which definitely upset me as a longtime Rayman fan, because I grew up with playing Rayman 2 and Rayman 3, and I absolutely adore those games. So just seeing Rayman getting sidelined for a bunch of dumb rabbits, yeah, it definitely upset me. But we're in a point of time now where Rayman is starting to gain relevancy again. He's had quite a few of his games getting re-releases. Like, the classic Rayman 1 has recently been re-released. And obviously you can play Rayman 2 The Great Escape on the Nintendo Switch. So, I'm very happy with the position we have currently with Rayman, where it seems like we might be able to get some more from him in the future. And obviously, he was featured in one of the DLCs for one of the Mario X Rabbids games. So that was very cool to see. But yeah, let's have another traditional Rayman platformer, either in the style of Origins and Legends, where it's a 2D platformer, or have it be a 3D platformer like how Rayman 2 and 3 were. I would definitely love that as a fan of those games. But yeah, the state of the Rayman series right now is in kind of an awkward position where we're not quite sure what's going to happen next, especially with the decisions Ubisoft has been making of late. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm much of a fan of them, although there are quite a few games that Ubisoft has made over the years that I do quite enjoy. Like, obviously I'm a fan of the Rayman series. And while I've never played Assassin's Creed or those kind of games, I have heard they're good. So at some point I might eventually get around to playing those, though probably not for the channel anytime soon. But you know, I always love to go back to the Rayman games, and this was a very fun one to go back to. And believe me when I say, if you think that Rayman Origins is good, Rayman Legends, in my opinion, is even better. And not only that, all of the levels in Rayman Origins, you're able to play in Rayman Legends. So you basically get to experience 2 full games for the price of 1. So yeah, I highly recommend grabbing Rayman Legends. It's such a fantastic game. You'll definitely get your money's worth with it. As for the default Rayman Origins, yeah, it's fun to go back to. I wouldn't say it's a recommend buy, but it's a very fun game with a lot of different things you're able to do, and definitely has a good deal of challenge behind it. Trying not just to finish the levels, but also to collect enough Lums in order to unlock not only the Electoons, which are necessary for unlocking more levels, as well as getting some alternate costumes, but also gathering enough Lums is how you get the medals in order to really show your skills. But of course, I'm not going after every single Electoon, not going after every medal in this stream series. Mainly just wanted to try and gather what I need in order to unlock the final challenge of the game, which thankfully I have managed to do during this stream session. So my plan going forward, we are not going to have another stream for the rest of this week because I have a lot of work to do. However, we will be coming back to this game in, I want to say next Sunday, and we should be able to take on the final level of the game, which is going to be a very interesting time. I don't know how long we're going to be spent doing it, because it is a very difficult area, and I haven't played it in so long, but we'll have to wait and see. It should be a good time regardless. And I'm looking forward to getting another opportunity to just spend some more time with this series that I love so much. But yeah, I feel like I've said enough about this game at this point. It's great. If you haven't played it, you might as well jump into it. We do not need to see the rest of the credits because it is just unnecessary. Let's just end this and head back to the Glade of Dreams. And just think we're only, I believe, 16 Electoons away from unlocking a new character to play as. But yep, thanks to our efforts, we have managed to restore peace to the Glade of Dreams, and managed to take care of the Magician's evil plot. However, we still have some loose ends back in the land of the Livid Dead, now that we have unlocked the path forward. So we'll be back into this game very soon in order to take on the final challenge. What are you doing here, Magician? You don't deserve to talk to us after what you did. But yep, we'll be diving into the land of the Livid Dead, the final challenge of the game, very soon. So until next time, have a good day and take care, everyone.